The following podcast is a deep, shallow dive production.
And you're gonna love it.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, so, I mean, I like hockey. Honestly, I enjoy hockey, but I don't think as much as you guys. You guys are like, you're coming out of the womb, and I think you've got like skates on and you're skating already.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm born and raised in Thunder Bay up north. I remember the days we even used to be able to skate on our roads. There was so much ice. So yeah, we play a lot of hockey down here in Canada.
That's amazing. That's amazing. All right. Well, listen, hey, I'm glad to get you, Joel. And so for everybody's, let me lay out the roadmap. Today is actually you're going to be my first international interview, which is awesome. And
amazing. We've
got Joel McDonough all the way from Canada. And what's great about Joel and what I'm really excited about more than anything is, we're going to talk about probably all four of the DSD pillars, but we're going to talk about some health related stuff that he went through. Namely, the dude broke his back, which is insane to me. And then we're going to really get into Canada and understanding Canada a little bit, understanding the Canadian government. We're going to talk some Justin Trudeau. We're going to talk some trucker strike, freedom strike. And then we're going to end with probably the most enlightening part is one of the businesses Joel has is a painting business. So he's going to help us lift the curtain a little bit. So if anybody needs to do painting of their house, interior or exterior, Joel's going to help us understand the things that, really you should look for. So anyway, man, welcome to the Deep Shallow Dive. How's it going?
Love it, Ray. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you taking the time out to chat with me over here in Canada.
That's my pleasure, man. It's my pleasure. All right, let's start with something that, man, I have a hard time wrapping my mind around. You broke your fucking back.
Oh, yeah. Broke it good. I think it was 19 years ago. I was sea-dooing out in Turkey Point.
Okay.
We used to take out the sea-doos and chase the big boats, and then they would have a wake behind it where you could drop down about 10 or 12 feet and then take a jump out doing about 70 kilometers an hour. And we're taking the jumps. We went for one last run, and as the sea-doo came down, probably at about 80 kilometers an hour, hit a wave and it popped back up, and that's the first time I broke my back. Yeah, no fun.
Wait, that's the first time you broke your back?
Well, that's when I broke. Yeah, that's when I broke my back. But then it turned into my spinal malapathy and the other degenerative disease. Yeah,
got it. Okay, all right. So let me understand this. You're on the Sea-Doo, which is kind of like a wave runner, but I think it's the ones where you sort of stand up on, right?
No, you see, they're the ones you sit on. You are totally
they're the ones
correct.
you sit on. Okay, got it. So we call it a wave runner. So you hit a wave at, how fast were you going? 80 kilometers? I'm trying to think.
70 or 80 kilometers, probably 50 or 60 American miles an hour.
50 or 60 miles an hour, which is crazy fast on that water. So then you landed. So what happened? Like, did you know something was really bad? And were you like in the water? Did your buddies come and have to rescue you?
Yeah, there's two of us on the Sea-Doo. So I was actually on the back of the Sea-Doo. So I was holding on to the handles at the back. So as we came down, the minute I hit, though, I knew I broke my back. Yeah, they had to hang me over the Sea-Doo and bring me into shore, and I knew it was broken. So yeah, pretty intense.
Was it just crazy painful? Do you even remember?
I don't know so much about crazy painful. Yeah, I think there was a lot more shock. I just couldn't stand or sit. I really only had to lie down, so I couldn't keep my body up straight. So yeah, it was pretty interesting feeling for sure.
So then your buddy put you on, I guess, laid you on the Sea-Doo, brought you into shore, and then talk us through kind of what happened next. I mean, I'm assuming they took you to the hospital, and then was it like spinal surgery?
Yeah,
how do you fix that broken back?
They picked me up and pulled me up on the dock and had to get rushed to the hospital.
Oh man. And then, and then from there, it's like, did they have to fuse your vertebrae together? I don't even know how you fix a broken back.
No, there's no operation that could be done. It's more or less, you just can't move and you need to put a brace on it, and you just have to more or less not do anything for about 4 or 5 months. And then as that happens, the rest of your body seizes up. So I couldn't even turn my head from side to side by the time everything was healed up. I literally had to be brought downstairs in a wheelchair, put in one of those transport buses to take me to physio. So I just sort of learned to walk again and different movements and moving my arms to hang things up. And it was pretty intense. It was about a year and a half of not too much fun.
Wow. So how long could you not walk? Like, how long was it that you just couldn't walk?
I'd say I probably couldn't walk properly for at least 8 months.
Wow. Like, could you get out of bed? Could you get out of bed though? Like, I mean, how would you go to the bathroom? How would you do all that stuff? Were you able to get there?
My wife at the time we had to take the bottom of the bed off and just put the mattress on the floor, and I literally would crawl with my arms.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay. And then so really there was no surgery. So it's basically just giving time for the back to recover, huh? And that seems like that would take a long time. All right. Painkillers.
About a year and a half.
Painkillers. How did you deal with it?
The first time, I call it the first time because of my back surgery later, but the first time the injury with my back, I did take painkillers. So I did take painkillers. I did do what the doctor said. I took the painkillers, laid on the couch, and sort of the just year and a half sort of floated by, and not much super recognition or memory about it. Yeah. So yes, I did take painkillers the first time. Yes.
And then what were the doctors telling you? Were they like, hey dude, you're going to make a total recovery, or you're never going to walk again? Like, what was the diagnosis?
No, with that, they did have a good inclination that I would walk again and everything would be fine as long as I just did the steps. So I followed their orders and sort of recovered myself, and took a lot of physio and a lot of work to get back to working again. Yeah.
Talk us through that, the physiotherapy and all that. Was that like something you did every day for multiple hours, or it's like concentrated? How does that work?
Yeah, it was about 5 hours of physio every single day. There would be like sort of a transportation bus that would pick me up. I get put in a wheelchair, get taken off in a wheelchair, and then they would either do electroshock, sort of electric acupuncture, massage, all those different things. So that was at the beginning. And then once I got more of my mobility and could sort of move myself around, I would sit in a wheelchair and just use my arms to put different pegs into these different setups that they had to sort of get motion, start working on moving my head side to side again, and trying to get different ranges of motion back.
That's amazing, dude. Let me ask you something, because honestly, like the first time we talked and kind of when we got connected, the one thing I really appreciated about you, among other things, is you were very real and very raw with me. And you were like, hey, I want to come on and I want to talk about, I want to talk about my back. And then we got into the politics stuff and all that, which we'll get into. But like, dude, what was your mindset going through all that? Like, did it depress you? Did it make you, and were you pissed off at your buddy? Cause he was the one driving the Sea-Doo, right? It wasn't you driving.
Yeah, I wasn't really pissed off. I kind of like, what happened. But the biggest thing was I just went through all the pain, figured out my back, got to walking again, got back to work. And the problem was they did say that I should get back surgery after, but after that sort of experience with all the painkillers and all that stuff, and, this was almost 20 years ago. So it's like, you're scared that they're going to do the operation. You might not walk properly and whatnot. So I didn't get the operation, and I literally I was a retail manager in a clothing store, sort of like your Men's Warehouse down there. It was Moore's Clothing for Men down here, selling suits. And I probably went from probably about 16 years working straight, 40 to 60, 70. I don't even know how many hours a week on my feet. So it was a lot of pain for many, many years. I had sciatic pain down both my legs, into my feet, vibrations. I never kept my phone on ring or vibrate, or I just always checked my phone because I always felt like my phone was ringing. So wow, yeah, that took me into about 5 years ago. That's when I was diagnosed with spinal malapathy. I was walking through a grocery store, still had all that major back pain, all those sciatic pains, and suddenly from my belly button down, I felt like I had ice packs on my legs, and I collapsed in the grocery store. From there, I had to call an ambulance. we figured out that my problem was it was spinal malapathy, so it's a disc degenerative disease. So now all the cushioning in between your your back vertebrae and whatnot, it dissipates and it's gone. So everything's bone on bone, and it was pushing against my sciatic nerve, which was cutting off blood flow and whatnot to my legs. So I did have some nerve damage, and they said I needed an operation right away.
Okay. So yeah, I should have asked this earlier. How old were you when the Sea-Doo accident happened?
I'm 46 now. My son is 19, so about 19 years ago. Yeah.
Oh wow.
My son was literally just born, so I had a newborn baby, and I'm crawling around on the floor. It was pretty crazy.
That's amazing. And you're like crawling around with him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sorry, I had to make that. All right. So
yeah.
Okay, so 19, you basically you lived with it, and you didn't have surgery initially. You were kind of good for a long time. I mean, were you good for a long time? Like was it?
No,
like
I was in. I literally had massive pain all the time. My back hurt. I couldn't sit for car rides. It was difficult to sit through a kid's presentation at school. So it was very, very, very difficult and very painful. But I still just had that phobia of operation, medication, doctors. Maybe I won't walk the same again.
I'm with you on that. So basically you did not have the surgery earlier out of just fear of, okay, you know what? I know this is not great right now, but I can deal with this. I don't want it to potentially turn into something else. And that's why you didn't have the surgery. And then you called it spinal malapathy. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Okay.
That's what it's called.
And that basically means that the cushioning in between your vertebrae over time just kind of wore itself out. So it got to the point where it was bone on bone. And then really in that situation, I'm assuming there are no other options besides some type of surgery.
Right. And well, you probably could still live with the pain if it didn't hit that nerve that cut off the blood flow to my legs, etc., which would create nerve damage, which then my limbs wouldn't work properly. And then, they'd have to start removing stuff, and you possibly couldn't walk again.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that surgery, do you know the ins and outs of it? Are they putting something in between your vertebrae, like a cushion or like some type of pad, or what are they doing?
I think what I had, there's 3 different types of operations. So they do a spinal fusion, which means they'll take each one of the vertebrae that has the missing discs and the cushioning in between, and they fuse them all together. So that's fusion. And then I had a laminectomy and a discectomy, not a bisectomy.
Okay. Not a bisectomy. Okay. That's good. It's good to know.
And they did some bone grafts for my hip bones and everything to push the bones in. So there's only 3 major operations you can have on your back, and I had all of them at the exact same time.
Wow.
So
they did. Man.
Yeah. Then after they fused everything together, they put in 4 big bolts, plates, and a big plate and some rods to keep everything stable.
Wow. Okay. Got it. All right. So then talk us through the recovery on that. What was that recovery like?
Yeah, even before the recovery, the doctors told me, here's a bunch of Percocets, here's a prescription of Oxycontin, go home, lie on the couch, and just wait for your operation. It's 5 years away. Maybe you take a couple cancellations. So I followed a few of their orders. I didn't follow their order of getting any of the opioids or oxys or any of that stuff, because the first time I listened to them, I literally felt like I got an addiction. It was tough to get off them at the end, and that kind of deterred me from listening to what the doctors told me, so I didn't take any of the painkillers.
You took that stuff the first go round.
Correct. And I literally floated on my couch high every day, no pain at all, not really, just time just passed by. And
that's like Oxycontin. Those are the opioids they talk about.
Yep. Oxycontin and Percocet. So that's what they prescribed me the first time. And I didn't like it because after I was trying to get back to work and stuff, I literally had withdrawals and all that, trying to get off the opioids for the pain to try to recover, to try to walk properly and everything. You can't take those opioids because you're still sort of, not in a good state. So that's why this time I decided not to take any of the prescription medicine that they requested. Ended up doing what they said. I didn't lift anything over 5 pounds. I laid on the couch, ended up putting on about 35 or 40 pounds, probably around there. Ended up having to walk with 2 canes, couldn't stand for more than 60 seconds. So it was super depressing, super discouraging. And that's how I created my workout system, chain blast muscle system.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Last question on the opioids and stuff. I mean, it's addictive, huh? Like was it to where I guess you just, not only did it take away the pain, but I mean, I've never taken any of that stuff. Does it just make you feel, I don't know, what does it make you feel like? I don't even know.
It literally makes you feel like there's not a feeling or a sensation from the top of your head to the bottom of your toes. So no pain, no stress, no worries. Absolutely sort of a floating feel, just like you have gel all around you all the time. It's just, it's any stress or feel that you ever had, it's all gone.
Wow. That's amazing. All right. Yeah. Let's, what is healthcare like in Canada? Like, does the government pay for all this stuff, or how does that even work?
Yeah, healthcare in Canada is covered by our government. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, that's one thing that seems like it's working. So let's shift and talk about the government, man. Like, help. This is crazy. We're neighbors, but I guarantee you, everybody listening, including myself, by the way, and this was one of the several reasons I wanted to have you on, is we don't really know. We think it's the same. I mean, we think government there is the same. We think the setup is the same. I think the extent of our knowledge base is that we know Justin Trudeau is do you call him the prime minister, or is he the president? I think he's the prime minister, right?
I don't think anybody that I know calls him by that. There's a lot of other choice words they choose to use, but I've never heard anybody I know call him that. No.
Okay.
So, yeah. A lot more choice words for sure for that wonderful gentleman.
What is his technical title? I mean, he's not the president. Like we've got President Biden. It's president. Is he president?
No, prime minister.
Okay.
Yeah.
But but people prefer to use probably more appropriate terms. All right, let's get into that, man. Let's get into COVID. Like, talk us through what took place in Canada, and obviously, the biggest thing that I think put Canada on the map during that time period was that trucker strike. I think it was called the Freedom Convoy, and I know you were intimate with that stuff. So tell us about that.
Absolutely. Myself and many other people throughout the community, mostly healthy people, found it very difficult to believe that it was in our best interest to stay home. So everybody I know that goes to the gym, takes care of themselves, eats good, doesn't listen to all the stuff about medicine and what to take and all the different stuff. We got out, we stayed out a lot. We continued to go out. We found places to work out. We kept gyms open without the government knowing.
Wow.
We sort of had a secret society of people that didn't follow any of the rules.
Wow. That's amazing. Did you own a gym? You talked about your chain blast system, which I do want to have you explain. Yeah. Tell us about that. Cause that's what you really use to help recover with your back.
Yeah, so while I was diagnosed with spinal malapathy, I was overweight. Doctor restricted me from lifting anything over 5 pounds. I was in the backyard because I like to spend time outside waiting for my operation. I was dragging a chain down the hill to lock up a set of my bikes. I sat down, I curled it, had some resistance. So I thought, what if I cut a 1 foot piece of chain? So I cut it with my grinder, weighed it. It weighed about 2.5 pounds. So I literally sat in my driveway, put a workout program together, doing flies, lateral raises, overhead presses, and different exercises with the chain, following my doctor's order, not lifting anything over 5 pounds. Each week I cut off another piece of chain with my grinder, zip tied it to the other chain. After about 3.5 months, it was the ugliest looking thing you've ever seen. It was literally the end hooks from the chain holding the end with all these different pieces, but I was able to physically lose about 25 pounds, realign my back, and I was able to at least get up, stand longer. I was able to make my way to the local gym, which I also took my chains in my bag up there, and It was my new addiction. So instead of the painkillers, I just couldn't wait to get up in the morning and go lift some chains. So it helped a lot with my recovery. And by losing that much weight, I took 100 and I think 106 cancellations for the back operation, something like that. So instead of 5 years, I got it moved up to about a year and 2 months. So made my operation come quicker. I didn't have to sit at home and wait. So every time I said, listen, call me every time there's a cancellation. And I took every single one. So it was pretty amazing.
That is amazing, man. And did you turn that into a business? Like, are you selling that chain blast system now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I turned it into a business. And the coolest thing was, like, the doctor didn't even recognize me when I went to the hospital to see him. He couldn't believe how much weight I lost. We did the operation. It was 45 minutes faster than any operation he did in the last 20 years. I was supposed to be in the hospital for 6 days. I was out in 6 hours. I was supposed to be bed stricken and not mobile for 6 months. I was walking by the second day, and I was back working full time, probably within less than 3 months of the operation. While they said I should be on permanent disability for the rest of my life and on permanent painkillers. So yeah, that just gave me the inspiration to turn it into a business. So I sort of cleaned everything up. Instead of zip ties, hooks, and ends of chains, I added handles, got appropriate lengths, weighted exactly to 2 pounds, and put together a workout system. So now that's what I'm trying to launch.
Dude.
Yeah,
that's incredible. I love that. So let's talk about the weight loss. So obviously, the fact that you lost all that weight, it seems like that was crucial in how well the surgery went, but more importantly, how fast or faster your recovery went, right? Like, had you not lost all that weight, how much did you say, 25 pounds or 40 pounds?
At least 25 pounds is what I
mean,
would have.
that's a lot of weight.
Guess.
That's a lot of weight. So, like, had you not lost that, chances are you wouldn't have recovered as well, right?
I think the point is I would never have recovered, because if I was 50 pounds overweight, they did the back operation. It's impossible to become mobile again. You're still hooked on painkillers, so you don't have an appetite. So I think that's why everybody would go on permanent disability if they had the same operation as me. But instead, I was able to stay active, move around, lose weight, eat good, eat better. My appetite wasn't gone because of the opioids. My mind wasn't foggy because of the opioids. And, you know, I was hungry to get healthier. And the doctor said to me, he's like, the first time I've ever opened up someone's back to do this surgery, and whatever he said, 25 years, that there was pure muscle. Typically you would open it up and the guy would be 50 pounds or 60 pounds overweight, and he'd have to cut all the fat out. So it'd be a way more deep cuts, you know, a lot more pain, harder recovery. After surgery would be almost unbearable. So he said it was so perfect. He opened it up, pure muscle. He got to work on it, and it was 45 minutes faster than ever. So I'm telling you, it's by doing the opposite of everything the doctor said, other than listening to him to have the surgery. I had a great doctor when it came to the surgeon, but by not following the advice was the best decision I've ever made in my life.
Yeah, because their advice prior to surgery was more for you not to be active, and you took it to the other extreme where you became like super active. And it sounds like that helped you lose the weight, helped you build muscle. You probably strengthened your core. You probably strengthened everything around the back. Dude, that's great, man. That's great. And that's a testament to, you know, I talk about weight a lot on this podcast, and I talk about people walking, getting steps in, you know, really losing weight, man. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Every pound extra that you carry, you're making every aspect of your body work that much harder. So that's incredibly impressive, man. That's incredibly impressive.
And the big thing I think too is, if anybody goes through an operation situation like that, like I used to drink, you know, years and years ago, and if I was obese, overweight, on opioids, I guaranteed I would have started drinking again. And then I would have became more depressed and more depressed and more depressed. So I feel that by not taking any of the painkillers or medication prevented me from starting to drink again. And it was probably the best decision I ever made in my life, to not go down that path of depression.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Did you cold turkey get off the opioids? Like, you just stopped taking it, or do you have to taper yourself off of that stuff?
The first time I had to taper myself off it. Yeah, it's too much of a shock to the body just to stop doing it. So Yeah.
I could imagine. I could
It's
imagine.
literally cold sweats, lie in bed for days and days and days and days until it all gets out of you. It's like a week process at least. So it's not fun.
Yeah, totally get it. All right, I do want to ask you a little more questions about like the setup of the government there, so we can even understand that. So you've got Trudeau as the quote unquote prime minister. And then
Yes.
here in the United States, we've got a Congress. So we've got the Senate and the House of Representatives. What do you guys have? Is there some type of parliament system?
Yeah. Again, when it comes to the government, it literally is an absolute circus. So yes, we have Trudeau at the top, and then I think he has, all these different people from different parties, and they meet in the chambers, and all they do is argue back and forth all day long. So most Canadians, like in my circle, we don't watch or listen to any of it because all it is political arguments. It never ever makes sense. He's saying this, she's saying that, one guy's trying to make sure that, our friend, our friend, Polivier there, he always says the right thing. So when he talks in Parliament, I don't mind, listening to him. Yeah.
And this is a guy, Pierre Polivier, correct?
Yeah.
And so is he the head of, is it the conservative movement, or what do you guys call it?
Yes, he's the head of the conservative movement. Absolutely.
Okay.
So
Okay.
everything he says is just common sense. Do I know that he's actually going to do everything he says? I'm not sure. But if there's anybody I'm going to listen to, everything he says makes sense. Like no more, quit taxing the farmers. Everything that he says totally makes sense. But yeah, Canada just seems like it's in a tough spot right now for sure. That trucker convoy and everything back then, and the way that everybody was treated. Canada, I know you down in America, you guys probably think of your neighbors. Oh, those nice Canadians are always so nice.
We do.
We are
totally. Yeah. No, we
literally.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we literally just try to please everybody, and everything is always perfect until this COVID shutdown. It changed absolutely everything. It pulled out some tough, some tough arguments between family members, friends, and everybody.
Yeah. No, I think it definitely did that here as well. There was definitely a divide. So that trucker convoy, like, did you have buddies that were truckers? Because that whole thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that whole thing started because the truckers basically didn't want to get vaccinated in order to have to, I guess, do their job and cross the border. Was it about the? Yeah, I think there was a level of the vaccine to it, and then they just said, hey, you know what? If you guys are gonna force us to do X, Y, Z, we're gonna basically shut the roads down. Was that what it was all about?
Yeah, pretty much. No. Lots of people didn't want to get vaccinated. I didn't get vaccinated. Most of my circle didn't get vaccinated. Most of my friends didn't get vaccinated.
Yeah.
It was tough because even I'm from a divided family. I have an ex-wife, right? So she's got her side of the family. I have my side of the family. I didn't want to get the vaccination, right? My kids kept saying, hey, get the vaccination. Hey, Dad, we need to go to restaurants. Hey, Dad, you need your passport and all this stuff. And I just said, I'd rather not go out, or I'd rather find a way to break the rules. And I made my own passports and got my own papers. And that's what most Canadians did. We literally just, whatever they needed to see as proof, we just made our own version of it.
I gotcha. Okay. All right. So that thing though, man, that made a mark. That trucker convoy, that really kind of, I know it got a lot of people excited because they were like, okay, this is the power of people working together in order to stand up for what they believe in, which again, I mean, I thought was amazing. What I thought was unbelievable that Trudeau did was then they started shutting down these guys' bank accounts, and they started really, really digging into their livelihood, not only from their job, but I mean, going after their assets. That was pretty scary to me. That was like, wow, that's the level of control that can happen if they wanted to. Any thoughts on all that?
Yeah, it was more or less, it was literally all the working class people who worked hard to keep our country the way that it is, people that fed everybody, people that did the deliveries, people that had the
Yeah.
small businesses, people that had the small restaurants. That's who was all out for the convoy. And that's who was on every one of our overpasses over our highway, waving flags. Like, we were just supporting the fact that there should not be, we shouldn't be forced to do something. And
Yeah.
especially when they're the people that are making the country work. And once everybody got down to Ottawa, I did have friends in the convoy. I had lots of friends that were on all of the overpasses. And once we got down there, everything was peaceful. There's bouncy castles. Everybody was peaceful. But somehow,
Mhm.
some way, somewhere, I don't know what the truth is, but there was people put into the situations to make it look like there was race things happening. There was people put
Yeah.
in to make it look like there was violence, which there wasn't. Whatever the narrative was, and then to shut down bank accounts, to abuse people, to arrest. We had people being arrested left, right, and center for not wearing masks. We had senior citizens being beaten by our police. It was absolutely insane to watch the way Canadians were treated. And especially when we're a pretty peaceful bunch. And then single mothers having their bank accounts frozen because they donated $20 to a trucker convoy, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
crazy. That's
Trudeau
crazy.
took it pretty far, and for our buddy there, Mr. Trudeau, to go from 2015 worth like $4 million to this year 2023 being worth almost $100 million. Explain how that happens. It makes absolutely no sense, as Canadians are flat broke. We can't afford to live. We're taxed beyond belief. Our gas is skyrocketed prices. Our homes are so expensive. People can't get mortgages, and he's worth $100 million. And like, it makes absolutely no sense.
When is the next election for him?
Honestly, I don't know the exact date, but I know they're pushing for it like ASAP, like
Okay.
soon. I think that the word out is that, 90% is going to go to the Conservatives. There won't be much room for the Liberal Party. Um, yeah,
Is it, obviously in the United States, it's every 4 years we elect a president. Is there a time frame like that in Canada? Is there a certain?
yeah, I think it's pretty much the same. Again, I don't watch the news. I don't turn
Okay.
on the TV
Okay.
and watch any
Okay.
news, so I
Okay.
don't know dates and times, but I'm
No, I feel
positive
you.
it's coming up soon and everybody wants a change. Everywhere I look, there's a F Trudeau sticker on the back of a truck. I see Trump stickers everywhere in Canada.
Oh,
Like,
really?
same, absolutely. I saw 5 yesterday before I came to
Oh my
talk to you. I'm
goodness.
like, holy geez, I saw 5 Trump stickers on Canadian trucks. Like, it says make America great again, and underneath it says, and hopefully that'll save Canada too. So
Wow. That is interesting. That is interesting.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
man, crazy times. But you know what? I appreciate you sharing all that, because there actually
yeah.
is a tremendous amount of similarities with what's going on in the United States and probably other countries as well. But again, we here don't really hear much about what's going on in Canada. So I think the natural inclination is to think everything is like copacetic and fine, but it's not, which is crazy.
Yeah, and for
All right. Yeah.
everybody, just one last thing. Everybody right now is so, we can't understand how we do a peaceful protest. And right now we have massive Palestine protests all around Canada now, and nobody's doing anything. Nobody's shutting them
Mm,
down. Nobody's
mm.
kicking them out of the parks. They're stopping traffic. Kids can't play in the park. Like, they're literally, it feels like they're doing a similar thing as COVID did, is preventing Canadians from being Canadians. And literally, we have videos of, at the beginning, the police bringing them coffee. So we're just a little confused over here in Canada what's going on.
I got it. I got it. That makes sense. All right, that was an awesome overview of all that. Now I want to
Yeah,
shift gears and I want to talk about
sure.
painting, because here's the other thing that I think is super cool is, and I share this with you. I'm trying to bring folks on that can help everybody understand a certain aspect of our lives that, quite frankly, we probably never have access to. And so
Yeah.
one of the other businesses that I think you and your business partner have is is it residential interior and exterior painting of residential houses? You guys do commercial as
Yeah.
well?
Yeah. So my business partner, Matt McHugh, our business is called McHugh Painting. We do interior, exterior for residential and commercial.
Okay. All right. All right. So, dude, let's lift up the curtain on painting a little and help us understand it. let's talk about paint to start. Obviously there's many different brands. Sherwin-Williams is probably the biggest here in the United States. I know there's a brand called Behr, Behr, which seems like it's a more high-end brand. Does paint brand really matter?
Absolutely. When it comes to our painting business, we only use the best paint from the best distributors, right? So Sherwin-Williams is probably about 75 to 80% of our business. Again, we use the highest end paint from them. We typically stay away from big box store paint, right? So we do stay away from stuff from, Rona, Home Depot, places like that. We do like to use the Sherwin-Williams is our top choice. Our second choice, we also like to stick with Dulux Paint. It's another Canadian company. And we also like to work with a place down here. It's called Here's, and they carry Benjamin Moore paint. So Benjamin Moore paint is a little bit more expensive, but those are the top brands. And also there's another company down here, Cloverdale Paint. It's a Canadian company, and they carry some really good quality high-end paints.
Okay. All right. So really there is a difference in terms of the quality of paint, and then that would be reflected in what? Just how long it lasts, or how long it maintains its color and all that?
No, it's more how well it lays on a wall, how it self-levels,
that's a good point.
how it flattens,
Got it.
how the client, how our painters can paint with it, right? So if we go to Home Depot and we get Behr paint, it's a lot more difficult to work with. It's more difficult to get proper coverage, or
That makes sense.
have that type of nice finish, right? So
Yeah. Okay, that makes total sense. It's funny, man.
Yeah.
I painted houses when I was a senior in high school, and then every summer when I would come back from college, I worked for a guy named Andy Clyde Painting
Nice.
in Ohio, and so I painted exterior and then interior, and it was actually. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed, I don't know, there was a certain serenity to it when you're kind of, painting with the brush and doing all that stuff. All right. So what are the top, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 things that people should ask their painting companies that they're interviewing before they want to paint, let's say, the exterior of their house? Like, do you have some best practices or some tips for people?
Yeah, best practices are always don't get anybody off of Kijiji. I don't know what your marketplaces are down there, but like Kijiji Painter, we call them. It's someone that you could just find on Kijiji, $20 an hour. You want to find a reputable paint company. You want people who have all their safety at heights and all that stuff, working at heights where their people are safe. You want people who have professional sprayers, all the different sizes. They know how to use them. And you need someone who's going to use the best paint on the market, because you'll get the best longevity out of your home if you use the best paint and have a quality painter apply it.
Okay, that makes total sense. I remember back in the day, it was like latex paint was water-based, and then acrylic, I believe, was oil. For some reason, I feel like they phased acrylic out. Am I right on that, or not really?
Yeah, there's not much oil on the market anymore. They have phased most of it out. Most of it is more of a hybrid, more water-based. There is an amazing paint called Fine Paints of Europe. It's Holland lacquer. It's $280 Canadian for 3/4 of a gallon. They use it on ocean liners or whatnot for the bottom of the boats and that. And it's amazing. You could get amazing finished doors. You actually need more or less of a license and a degree by Fine Paints of Europe to do certain types of coating that they offer.
Okay, got it. All right, last question on painting. Do you always recommend primer? Do you recommend laying down primer before you paint, or not necessarily?
Typically, if we do kitchen cabinets, or if you're doing something you needed to grip to, yes, you'd use a gripper primer. But when it comes to walls, if you're using a high enough quality paint, you don't need primer. Unless it's a real dark color like reds, blues, things like that take a lot of coverage, you would use a primer so that you don't have to use as much top coat, because the top coat's more expensive than the primer. But no, you don't need primer for all of your projects.
All right, got it. All right, man, let's conclude on your health. Like, you feel like $1 million these days? You have any residual pain or issues with your back, or are you kind of back to full go?
Yeah, I feel $750,000. I still absolutely have pain in my back. It is difficult for me to bend down to get something out of the bottom of the fridge. It's difficult for me to put pans away at the bottom, but my whole lower back is fused together and there's metal plates in there. So I don't have the range of motion. And just by sitting and things like that, it does irritate the muscles all around it. So yes, I am in pain per se, maybe more uncomfortable than actual pain. But I'm able to go to a wonderful gym called Move Strong with Coach DeVore. I do strength and mobility training Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then we do controlled articular rotations where we move different body parts just to keep everything. It's called flossing the joints. I also train boxing with Sid the Jewel Vanderpool, amazing man. That's at Sid Fit in Waterloo here.
I love that.
I box
Sid
on
the
Tuesday.
Jewel Vanderpool. That's
Sid
solid
the
name.
Jewel Vanderpool. Actually, my boxing hand weights that I made are called hand jewels. So yeah, he's a great man, great mentor. Helped me through a lot of my struggles. Helped me when I was trying to figure out what to do. You know, when I was in pain and after my operation and whatnot. He's a great man. Yeah. So feeling good, healthy, going to the gym, running multiple businesses.
Dude. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And listen, man, you are a testament to resilience. I appreciate having you today. You know, we covered such a diverse spectrum of topics from health to politics to painting. So that was great. Wish you all the best. And we'll check in with you in a couple months. Actually, you know what? I'll figure out when that election is, and then we'll check in with you after the election.
Yeah, we'll have a chat and let you know how things change here in Canada, because pretty soon there's going to be another convoy or something coming if we don't have any changes.
Yeah, something's coming.
We'll make sure we take all our money out of our bank accounts before we get rolling.
All right, Joel. Sounds good, buddy. Appreciate you. Talk soon.
Thanks, Ray. I appreciate your time.
All right. See you later, you hoser. I had to throw in the word hoser.
Hoser, eh? Yep.
This episode was brought to you by the new book, Deep Shallow Dive Into You, available now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble in hardcover and paperback. Don't forget to sign up for our new mailing list on our website at deepshallowdive.com.